Hello students, welcome to this online course of Strength of Materials. So in the previous lecture we have seen the problem related to Mohr circle, and today we are going to discuss the theories of failure. So this is the last topic of this chapter. So in the next lecture we are going to start our new chapter. So we are going to discuss theories of elastic failure. So there are various theories. By help of them we can decide the failure criteria for the given material. We can decide the we can choose the failure theory, and we can decide the limiting stresses, or indirectly you can say you can decide the strength, like how much strength that particular structure or the particular element can take. So a structural or machine component may fail either by the actual rupture or by yielding. So there are two possibilities: either the material reaches its capacity, that is the stress in the material has exceeded its yield capacity, or due to rupture. Rupture is that is physically the particles got separated and it will break into more than two components, two or more than two. Now when we consider a component to have failed from the engineering point of view, rupture need not have taken place. So in general, rupture, like we are not allowing the material to reach the rupture state. That means excessive yielding beyond a specific limit can be considered a condition for failure. So generally for us the yielding criteria is the failure criteria. A component subjected to complex loading system has principal stresses in the three direction, that can be sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3. 1, 2, 3 are the principal plane direction, or in you can say sigma x, y and z. So there can be three axis. Along with them the principal stresses can be there due to complex loading. It can be 2D, it can be 3D, it can be 1D. So maximum three principal stresses are possible in a given body for general loading condition. It is common practice to compare the largest of these values to elastic limit stress obtained in simple tension test. So you have to understand here. So whatever we are going to discuss, so if this is your bar, okay, so this can be here. P is the load, M is the moment, torque is there, transverse load is there. So it can be, this is called as complex loading. So from here you can have a value sigma of maximum stress or minimum stress, and the theories of failure, whatever sigma y we are getting yield stress, it has come from the 1D simple tension test. That is, the bar was like this and it was provided a tensile force, and the yielding state was determined by this value sigma y. So you have to be very careful in understanding this point, that the theories of failure are like we are having the complex loading in practical situation, but the theories of failure are defining the failure criteria based on the simple test. That is, the test was 1D, but in practicality or in reality we can have 3D system of loading, 2D system of loading, or 1D system of loading. So in reality it can be of any dimension, 2D, 1D or 3D. But the theories of failure, the sigma y which we are going to define here, for which value we are going to compare these principal stresses for complex loading, will be of 1D. Okay, so this point you have to be very clear. Now the other accompanying stresses also have a bearing on failure, like the material can fail by the combination of 1, 2 or all the three principal stresses. So no rigorous method is available to relate the value of sigma y obtained in simple axial load to the stress causing failure. Also, a single theory cannot satisfy the failure condition in rupture or in yielding. So there are multiple theories based on different conditions, and there is no rigorous method available to calculate the yield stress for complex loading. Okay, we can have yield stress for single like simple tension test or 1D loading only. So the stress strain diagram which we have drawn for say mild steel, in that also we have done the simple tension test. So we were pulling the bar and the whatever results we have getting, we have plotted it and we have determined the sigma y value. So there are mainly 5 of the theories. So many hypotheses has been proposed to explain the condition governing the elastic failure of material. So we will consider the following theories. So these are the following theories: the maximum principal stress theory, the maximum principal strain theory, the maximum shear stress theory, the maximum total strain energy theory, and the last is the maximum shear strain energy theory. These theories cannot cover the condition of failure for all materials, and also they cover only cases other than local buckling or instability. So for each of the theory is based on some particular condition. So that is why one theory cannot be applicable to all the conditions and all the materials. So depending upon the situation and depending upon the material type of material, we have to choose the theory and we have to determine the various values whatever is been asked in the question. For design purpose only, mainly we are using these theories. So the first theory is maximum principal stress theory. This theory is also called as Rankine's theory, and it is the oldest and simplest theories of failure. Okay, so what this theory is stating: according to this theory, a failure can be established when the principal stress is the maximum tensile stress, reaches the value of the yield point, that is sigma yt, or the minimum principal stress sigma 3 reaches the value of the yield point sigma yc. But in generally, what we are considering, we assume the body is having the yield stress same in both tension and compression, and that is equal to sigma y. That means sigma 1, the maximum shear stress, should be less than the yield stress of that particular material. Or for like in practical situation, we are like we are not very sure that sigma y is accurate or not, so we used to apply factor of safety on this sigma y value. So this equation is the equation for this maximum principal stress theory. This theory is found to be suitable for brittle material because the brittle material is weak in tension. That is why we are comparing the tensile stress, maximum tensile stress. If it is safe in that value, then it will be safe in the lesser values or in compression. So let us move to the second theory, that is maximum principal strain theory. Similarly, like maximum stress theory was principal stress theory was, the principal stress should be less than the yield stress. So the strain corresponding to yield stress should be greater than the strain generating in the body. Also, this is the diagram. If you are plotting like, let me just write the equation mathematically from where this graph is coming. So this graph is between sigma 1 and sigma 2. So what is the condition here? Sigma 1 less than equal to plus minus sigma y, and sigma 2 is also less than plus minus sigma y. Okay, so this is minus sigma y, this is plus sigma y, this is plus sigma y, and this is minus sigma y. So this is the common area, that is why we are getting a square. Okay, so this is the governing condition for this graph. Clear? Now for this case, the theory was proposed by Saint Laurent. It states that in the case of ductile material, failure can be established when the principal tensile strain reaches the value of yield strain in a simple test, or when the principal compressive strain reaches the value of yield compressive strain in simple compression test. So similarly, like epsilon 1 should be less than sigma pi by E. Okay, this is sigma 1 by E. So this is the condition. So the diagram looks like this. Again, same, we can use sigma 1 should be less than equal to sigma y by E, and sigma 2 should be less than equal to sigma y by E. From there you can get the relation between sigma 1 and sigma 2, and you will get a rhombus. Okay, so these sides are equal. Now the next theory is maximum shear stress theory. This theory is known as Gusset theory or Coulomb theory, and proposes that yielding begins when the maximum shearing stress equals the maximum shearing stress. So the maximum shearing stress generating in the body should be when it is about to reach the value of the maximum shear stress generated when the body was subjected to only tensile loading, then the yielding is going to start. So in such test, the shear stress is equal to the difference between the maximum and minimum principal stresses. This we already know. Tau max is sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2, or it should be less than sigma y by 2, because sigma y is the maximum stress and sigma 0 is the minimum, and this is the formula. So it should be less than sigma y by 2, or simply sigma 1 minus sigma 2 should be less than sigma y, because 2 will get cancelled out from both the sides, and you will get this value as, so this is a hexagon. Okay, so all the sides are, not all the sides, but these sides are not equal and these are equal. Okay, so let us move to the next theory, that is maximum total energy theory. Total energy theory, that is the strain energy only we are talking about. This theory originally called Beltrami and is also known as Hague theory also. So two scientists have contributed to in developing this theory. It proposes that failure occur when the material under complex stresses attain strain energy more than that in the simple tension or compression test. So if the material is having energy more than the simple test, then it will fail. Simple. So for safety, it should be less than the strain energy, total strain energy developing should be less than whatever strain energy is developing in simple compression or simple tension test. So for 3D, this is the strain energy, and it should be less than sigma y square by 2e. But in our syllabus, only plane stress condition is there, that is sigma 3 is 0. So if you will put sigma 3 0 in this equation, you will get this equation, and it should be less than sigma y by factor of safety square by 2e. So graphically we can represent like this. It will be a ellipse, and it is applicable to brittle material. Most suitably it can be applied to brittle material. Now come to the last theory, that is maximum shear strain theory. So this theory is known as Mises and Henke theory or distortion energy theory, because due to shear strain, distortion is there. It proposes that yielding begins only when the strain energy of distortion per unit volume absorbed at a point due to a complex stress system equals the distortion strain energy absorbed per unit volume in a bar stressed to the elastic limit in a simple test. So this is same for all the theories. Whatever is they are proposing, they are defining in this term only. So we are having the strain energy like this, and it should be less than sigma y square by 6g. So this is the equation for this theory, and this is also ellipse. Okay, and the axis of ellipse is at 45 degree from sigma 1 axis or sigma 2 axis. From both axes it is inclined at same angle 45 degree. So this was all about the failure theories. Now let us try to see how we are going to apply this theory. So with the help of a question, we are going to do that. So a bolt is acted upon by an axial pull of 16 kN along the transverse shear of 10 kN. So there are two types of forces. So let us see, this is a bolt. So this is some kind of bolt. Okay, so here threads are there, and let me just so something like this. So this is a kind of bolt, you might have seen this. So here one force P is there and one force V. This is axial pull, and this is shear stress. Okay, so determine the diameter of the bolt required according to different theories. So we have to determine the diameter, this diameter of the bolt. Elastic limit is given as 250 ampere, so this is sigma y. Factor of safety is 2.5 and Poisson's ratio is 0.3. So let us try to solve it by each theory. So before moving to apply the theory, we have to solve from some quantities. So sigma allowable stress will be sigma y by factor of safety, that is 100 MPa. So diameter, let us say d mm is there, so area will become 5 by 4 d square. So normal stress will become 16,000 by area if A is the area, and shear stress will become 10,000 by the area, load upon area. So sigma 1 and sigma 2 you can calculate by this formula. Okay, now we are having sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma y is there. Now we can easily apply the theories. So first theory is sigma 1 should be less than sigma y by factor of safety. So just put the value of sigma y by factor of safety, that is 100, and sigma 1 is 20,806.25 divided by area. So area should be greater than 208.0625, and by putting the value of area pi by 4 d square, we can get diameter should be greater than 16.27 to avoid the failure. If diameter is less than this value, then it will fail. Okay, so first value is 16.27. Now maximum principal strain theory. So by this theory we can say principal strain should be less than sigma y by factor of safety by E. So epsilon 1 is what? Sigma 1 minus mu sigma 2 by E. Okay, so sigma 2 is negative, so it will become plus, and finally you will get D should be greater than 16.83. Okay, so here it was 16.27, here it is 16.83. Now the maximum shear stress theory, what it is saying, the maximum shear stress should be less than sigma y by factor of safety divided by 2. So that means sigma 1 minus sigma 2 should be less than 100, and after putting all the values you will get D should be greater than 18.06. Okay, so this is the most conservative theory, because you will get the excessive material by this theory. You can see like here only 16.27 diameter, here 16.83, but here it is more than 18 millimeter. So this theory is the most conservative theory. Now the last fourth theory is maximum total strain energy theory. So we are having the formula. This formula is there. 1 by 2 is sigma 1 square plus sigma 2 square minus 2 mu sigma 1 sigma 2. This you can easily derive, and it should be less than sigma y by factor of safety square by 2e. All the values we are having, sigma 1 and sigma 2, mu is given as 0.3. After putting all the values, what we are getting, the diameter should be greater than 17 millimeter. The last theory is the maximum shear strain energy theory. So the formula again we are having this formula. Also all the quantities are known to us. Just put the value here. Area should be greater than this value, and diameter should be greater than 17.32. So by first theory it was 16.27, then 16.83, then 18.06, and 17, and here it is 17.32. So if we want this bolt to be safe by all the theories, so we are going to design the diameter as 18.06, because if we will provide lesser diameter, then all these by this criteria it will fail. So this will be the answer. If design bolt diameter is asked, so it should be greater than 18.06 or 19 mm, because 18.06 it is very hard to provide. So we will take the integral value and we will provide 19 millimeter. So this was all for this chapter. In the next class we are going to start the simple bending theory of simple bending. So this is all for today. Thank you.